Dog saves lion cub from drowning. What the pride does next is unbelievable. The first bark was what caught Daniel Harris's attention to something unusual happening by the riverbank. His golden Labrador, Leo, had run ahead during their morning walk through the private reserve bordering Kruger National Park. It wasn't his usual alert bark. This one was urgent, insistent. Daniel quickened his pace, the South African summer sun already burning despite the early hour. "Leo," he called, leaving the trail and pushing through thick vegetation that hid the muddy banks of the Umbalazi River. "What did you find, boy?" What Daniel saw would be etched in his memory forever. Leo was soaked, struggling against the sluggish current, his golden coat darkened by water. Between his gentle jaws he carried a small animal, limp and drenched. The dog pushed against the current, determined to reach the shore. Daniel's heart froze as he recognized it. Not a small antelope, not a monkey. It was a lion cub. "My God," he whispered, instinctively reaching for the tranquilizer weapon he always carried. As a wildlife veterinarian living on the edge of predator territory, precaution was essential. Leo finally climbed onto the muddy bank and gently laid down his fragile burden. The cub, barely a few months old, was motionless, its normally golden fur a soggy mess. It wasn't breathing properly. Daniel dropped to his knees, momentarily forgetting the danger of nearby adult lions. Years of training kicked in. He checked for a pulse irregular. The cub had aspirated water, internal drowning. Daniel positioned the small body on its side, pressing gently on the ribs to expel the liquid. Leo stood guard, alert but calm, his eyes locked on the cub. "Good boy, Leo, you did well," Daniel murmured, focused on the compressions. After tense moments, the cub coughed, spitting up river water, and its amber eyes fluttered open. A weak cry escaped. Relief washed over Daniel, but vanished instantly when a deep growl rumbled from across the river. His blood turned cold. Less than 50 meters away, a lioness stood watching, muscles coiled. "Stay still, Leo," Daniel whispered, fingers brushing the tranquilizer. Behind her, more shapes stirred in the undergrowth. The Serengeti clan was gathering. At his feet, the cub whimpered, answering faintly when the lioness called again, this time softer, more communicative. "She knows her baby is alive," Daniel murmured hopefully, moving slowly. He reached for his satellite phone. Backup was essential. Minutes later, Jonas, the reserve's head ranger, arrived with a vehicle. He froze at the sight. The dog, the cub, the lioness, across the river. "We need to move now. That water's shallow enough for them to cross. The cub needs immediate care. It's hypothermic and waterlogged," Daniel replied with delicate hands. He placed the cub in a transport crate lined with thermal blankets. Leo leaped into the vehicle, instinctively lying beside the crate like a guardian. "That dog is either crazy or fearless," Jonas muttered as he started the engine. "He's just doing his job," Daniel said, scratching Leo's ear. "Saving lives doesn't stop at species lines." What they couldn't know was that this extraordinary moment was only the beginning of an even more remarkable story. At the rehabilitation center, the Serengeti Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, was a whirlwind when Daniel arrived. Dr. Helena Moreira, a renowned big cat specialist, was already waiting. "Male or female?" she asked briskly. "Female, about 3 months old, pulled from the Umbalazi by my dog. Water in the lungs, low body temperature." Her brow rose at the mention of the dog, but she focused on the task. The cub, quickly nicknamed Nola, was given fluids, antibiotics, and warmth. Soon, they discovered a clean wound on her flank, likely from a poacher's snare. "She may have panicked, fled, and fallen into the river," Helena said grimly. While the wound was cleaned and stitched, Leo sat silently in the corner, eyes fixed on Nala. When the cub finally rested, he moved closer, touching his nose to the cage. To everyone's astonishment, she responded with a soft, friendly chuff lion language for safety. "She's imprinted on him," Daniel observed. He was the first she saw when she awoke. Helena nodded, both fascinated and cautious. This bond could either help or hinder her reintegration. The pride draws near. Hours later, Jonas arrived with tense news. The Serengeti clan crossed. Downstream they're heading here, all 6 adults. The mother, too. At dusk, the lions appeared at the perimeter fence, silent, watchful, unthreatening. They weren't hunting. They were waiting. They followed her scent. Daniel realized. This could be a unique chance, Helena said quietly, or a disaster. "What if we use Leo?" Daniel suggested. "They saw him with her at the river. They didn't attack then. They might associate him with help." It was risky, but the team agreed. The next day, they moved Nala to a special enclosure designed for reintroductions. Leo entered beside her, calm, wearing a protective vest. Soon, the lions emerged from the brush. The mother led, her amber gaze fixed on the cub. She called, and Nala, hearing her, perked up and tried to respond. When the first gate was opened, Nala hesitated, then looked back at Leo. "Go on, little one," Daniel whispered. She stepped forward, pressing against the mesh, where her mother waited. They touched noses, through the barrier, exchanging soft calls. Acceptance was unmistakable. Finally, the last gate slid open. Nala bounded toward her family, greeted with grooming and nuzzles. But before leaving, the lioness turned back. She fixed her gaze on Leo, and then she dipped her head. She acknowledged him. Jonas breathed. No, she thanked him, Daniel whispered, hand on Leo's head. The pride vanished into the bush, Nala walking confidently among them. The team stood in reverent silence, witnesses to something few humans ever see, gratitude that crossed species. Epilogue months later, camera traps confirmed that Nala was fully reintegrated, thriving with her pride, the faint scar on her flank the only reminder of her near death. Leo resumed his conservation work with Daniel, but now the pair were known far beyond the reserve. Their stories spread through scientific circles and across the world, a case study in empathy transcending species boundaries. And sometimes, on patrols along the reserve, Daniel glimpsed a young lioness with a faint scar, watching from a distance. For a moment, amber eyes would meet Leo's, a silent reminder of an unlikely bond that changed both their lives forever.